Smith earlier today. Mr. Smith. Let's see. His blood pressure was a little bit up. I need to follow up on that tomorrow morning. Let's see, blood pressure. Probably get him started on maybe some lisinopril. I believe that should probably do the trick for him. I mean, his blood pressure was a little bit elevated in the office today, but we'll just start off with a low-dose lisinopril and see if that changes anything. Let's see, it was a very good meeting with the drug rep. They did bring some delicious Olive Garden. That was very nice. And their new drug is potentially very beneficial to some of my patients. So I do think going forward I need to contact them again real quick. And see how soon their drug will be on the market. And now that it's starting to get a little warmer, I'm noticing a couple patients with some allergies. I should probably get the office manager to get some over-the-counter stuff for the office. Let's do an office, maybe an office meeting by the end of the week. And that way we can probably get some things together. Now, finish up with, we'll finish up with charting tonight. And I believe, let's see here. Who's my last call for the night? Good afternoon, or should I say good night now. My name is Dr. Dillon, and I know this is a little bit of an unusual circumstance, but I decided to fit you in. I like to sit in the office after work and catch up on the daily activities of the day. When you see a patient every about 15 minutes or so, the girls at the front desk, they leave me telephone encounters that need addressing. There's mids that I may have forgotten to send throughout the day. There's people that have called asking for med refills, and obviously close out any charts and finish those up from the day. I tend to like to not take that stuff home with me, hence why I sit in this office here and just do it real quickly before I go home. That way, once the stethoscope comes off, I can just sort of forget about all this. But, well, I'm on call as well, so you can never really escape people trying to call, and that local lab, they seem to love calling with critical results at 3 in the morning. But besides that point, I decided to see you real quick. Tomorrow is a very busy day for me. Like to try to finish out. I like to finish the day very strong, and if I can prevent you from potentially waiting tomorrow to squeeze you in, I decided I would do that for you. Yeah. Because tomorrow, if I could fit you in, but you might have to wait a little while, and I thought we could just, like I said, it's no big deal to just have you meet after hours and kind of go from there. So how are you doing overall? That's good, good. Any significant changes in your medical history since the last time that we've met? Okay. Well, if everything's going good and you just kind of need a yearly checkup and maybe a little bit of a cranial nerve exam, we will we'll do that for you. How's that sound? Perfect. So starting off, I don't have any medical assistants here to help me out, so you'll have to bear with me. I haven't had to take a blood pressure or anything in quite some time. But I'm going to start off just grabbing your temperature really quickly. You look like you're fine, but I like to do an extensive chart note anytime I see a patient. That way, any chance that I may have to send you out for imaging, prescribe you anything, or maybe even something will come up a week or two from now. It's nice that while you're in the office, I can grab all your vital signs, and we can, I just have them all a part of the chart note. So, real quick. Perfect. You're at perfect 97.7. Now next up, this right here is called a pulse ox. It's a pretty nifty tool. I get a lot of patients that they've been around a lot longer than this, and they seem to just be tickled to death anytime you just put it on your finger. The technology behind these things it gets a lot of people. But regardless, this will tell me your pulse and your blood oxygen level. I'm gonna have you just stick your finger out just like that. Perfect. I'll just let that sit for a minute. Sometimes the readings will go up and down, sort of depending on if you just walked. So a lot of the times, if you're at the front of the building and you walk back here, your heart rate sometimes will go up. Other people, they get what's called white coat syndrome, and just the thought of being in a doctor's office, even if it's for something silly as med refill or allergies or something, and their blood pressure and their pulse spike, just they get anxious kind of thing. Your pulse anywhere between 60 and 100 beats is considered normal, as long as you're not too low, which is called bradycardia, or too high, which is called tachycardia. Now you're at a nice 70 beats per minute, which is perfectly normal. And then your oxygen is 99%, also very normal. It's not 100%, because we're you're breathing in something called room air right now. And it all depends for people and, like I said, the environment and just sort of everything like that. But 99's perfectly fine, as long as you're not, even anything lower than 90, like if you were sitting at 89, but you had a history of, let's say, COPD, or maybe a smoker, if you had a history of something, then that's kind of pretty normal. Obviously, if this is a brand new sort of thing, then we would look further into it. And then anything, if you're at like 75 or lower, even with like a history of COPD or breathing problems, then at that point we would advise you go to the emergency room. You need a lot more care than can be provided at a walk-in or a primary care setting. But your vital signs are perfectly fine. You can set that on the table right over there. Then lastly, I have what's called a sphygmometer, otherwise called a blood pressure cuff. So, blood pressure, especially nowadays, I find is very important to always be monitoring with patients. Patients seem to have a lot of stress and anxiety right now, and just want to make sure that with people's diets and whatnot, that their blood pressure is normal. Now, 120/80 is considered perfect. You will rarely ever get that in a true clinical setting. It's pretty rare because, again, typically you're going to be off by a couple points, which again is perfectly normal. The range is 140/90 or higher is considered hypertension, and then 100/60 or lower is considered hypotension. Now, typically you don't see a lot of hypotension. What you get is a lot of hypertension nowadays. Just whether it's people not taking care of themselves, or they have, medical things going on that they may be unaware of. Anything over, at least how we do it here, anything around like 170 over 100 or higher. And again, it all depends case by case. There's really no set, determined blood pressure, but anything around like 170 to 200, we would advise you go to the emergency room, because at that point you can either have a heart attack or a stroke, because your blood pressure is so high that your body just can't keep up with it. But regardless, I'm going to listen for something called a Krutkov sound, which will be the systolic and your diastolic, the first and last heartbeat that I hear. So what I'm going to have you do is I need your artery. I'm going to have you stick your arm like that. I'm going to put the cuff on you, and then I want you to relax it on your leg. How's it look? And now what I'm going to do is put my good old stethoscope on. That way I can hear your heartbeat. Just one moment real quick. Everything sounded good. We don't measure blood pressures in one increments. We measure them in 2 increments. So you were 122 over 78, which is perfectly normal. Alrighty. So now that I have all your vital signs out of the way, which again are all perfectly normal, I'm just going to do a general head-to-toe assessment on you. So, I'm going to visually look, make sure I don't see any lumps or bumps, which I do not. And everything looks good. Do you have any complaints in any specific region of the body? Okay, no, that's good. Alrighty. Alright, so I'm gonna start off. I have my pen here. I'm gonna have you look at the silver part here and follow it with your eyes only. Try not to move your head at all. Okay. Start off. Okay. Just your eyes. Gonna go back. Alright, gonna go down a little bit. Across. And backwards. Excellent. Everything seems good there. Can I have you stick your hands out for me? I'm just gonna look, make sure, just gonna feel them real quick, make sure I don't feel any lumps or bumps. Okay. The other hand. Very nice. Alrighty. So now I'm going to do what's called a sharp and dull test. I'm going to use this pen here. So this end here is smooth. That'll be the dull side. And this end here is pointy. That'll be the sharp side. So what I'm going to do is poke around your arms and upper chest and back area real quick. And I just want you to tell me if it's sharp or if it's dull. Got it? Perfect. All right. I'm gonna have you close your eyes for me. Then is this sharp or dull? Sharp or dull? Sharp or dull? One more. Sharp or dull? Excellent. Then lastly, I have a eye chart here. Can I have you start on this line here? Can you read that? What about this line down here? I know there's quite the storm outside right now. I'm sure driving home will be fun, but... Alright. Can I have you... I'm just going to point to a random letter. Everything looks good. Alrighty. So just from my general exam here tonight, everything, your numbers look great. I don't see anything glaringly wrong with you. I am going to write up some orders for you. One's going to be a blood work order that you could take out to the lab. It is a fasting order. So just make sure you don't eat or drink before 12 hours before you get the blood work done. And then I'm going to send you for a EKG, just a precautionary one. And as long as those two come back good, which I have high hopes that they will, you shouldn't have to see me for about another year. So with that, like I said, appreciate you coming by tonight. Like I said, just wanted to kind of fit you in where I could. I guess sounds kind of treacherous outside right now, so better get home before it gets any worse. But like I said, appreciate you stopping by. You seem to be in a good bill of health, and I'll see you in about a year. Take care.